I welcome all of you here in such great numbers this year. Thank goodness, thank God. I've gone around the diocese over the past number of months offering 3 reflections on the Eucharist as we here in the Diocese of Corpus Christi are preparing for a Eucharistic Congress in the month of June. And at the last one, it dawned on me to ask the participants, and reminding myself again of a question that probably many of you of a certain age anyway would have remembered in catechism class. And that is, how long is Jesus present in me after I receive communion? Remember the answer? 15 minutes. And of course, that is from a bodily approach. Food of that nature would remain about 15 minutes. But as a kid, it always kind of disturbed me that Jesus, God, is present for 15 minutes. And sometimes I think about that now since I presented it, and I thought, sometimes we act that way. We're pretty good inside the building with the Eucharist there, but it's when we leave that the question comes, is he still here? Is he still with me? As we receive the Eucharist, which is our bond of unity, our bond of charity, do we fulfill that as we walk out the doors? And as we look around our world and our society, our country, our parishes, our families, perhaps we could do a much better job to bring unity, charity, peace. Is Jesus always with us, or just momentarily? As you gather this weekend, I think it could be something that you could live together. Because when you get this many people in a room, there might be a disagreement. There might be 2 different opinions opposing each other. That person that's going to knock over their tea at the table, judgment. All sorts of things when we get together can happen. And yet the Christian community is called to witness to the oneness of God, Father, Son, and Spirit through that mutual love which Jesus commanded us and that we celebrated and heard on Holy Thursday. As he gathered his disciples, washed their feet, he gave them that commandment. How far are we as a church, as organizations within the church, how far are we from that central command? To give up our life for each other. To sacrifice self for the other. It's a question I think we should always ask. The question that I proposed at the beginning, how long is he there after communion, is simply answered. But how long is he among us day in and day out? The gospel today presents us something that if we just read it, we think immediately of Jesus walking on the water. It's a little different, because if we look at it in the context in which it was given or spoken today, there is a preface. Because this particular passage is after Jesus had multiplied the loaves of the 5,000 men and the women and children on the hill. If you remember the story, they were so amazed that they wanted to take him off and make him their king, make him their redeemer. The long-awaited has finally arrived. And Jesus slipped away and went up the mountain. And while he was up in probably prayer, reflection, but also to escape the misunderstanding of people, I'm not here to just give you a miracle here and there. His disciples, as the gospel says, got in the boat and went to the other side, to Bethsaida, where they were residing. Some may think that they abandoned Jesus, they forgot him. But he took another route, and that's by foot. And a commentary on that says that Jesus was walking along the ridge or the edge of the sea. And as the sea began to be tumultuous and stirring up things, and the disciples were getting panicky, he was watching them. A strong image for us. He was watching. And as they finally caught sight, when they're almost there, after 4 miles of going across the Sea of Tiberias, they called out to him. And he said to them, "Do not be afraid," as if to say, "I'm here." Then they arrived at shore. Sisters and brothers, as we have celebrated the Paschal mystery in such a beautiful way, ending with the resurrection and now preparing for Pentecost, for the ascension in Pentecost, is Jesus really here? We know he is. We know he's with us at all times. Do we take note of that? Can we begin our day, can we begin our meeting simply recognizing the risen Lord is here? Even outside of Easter season, he's here. He's with us, he's among us, he lives in each one of us. And when we gather in his name, he's here. I believe as a church we need to become more and more sensitive and more aware and alert that he is with us. Pope Francis said in a speech that he gave during a symposium on the priesthood, he said to priests and bishops too, all of us, "You know, it seems to me that the priest does 99% of the work." And he said, "Poor God gets 1%. And I think if we look at how we conduct ourselves in meetings and families and parishes and work and our own personal life, we do 99%. It all depends on me. And poor God gets included 1% of the time." And so I would suggest during this weekend, as you continue your meetings, make room. Make room for the presence of Jesus Christ. Make room for the inspirations of his Holy Spirit, whom he has sent to us. Make room for the mercy of God as you deal with one another throughout this weekend. Let Jesus be king of your hearts, be king of every gathering. Be the one whom God sent to us many years ago in the flesh, who has remained with us and will always remain for us, as he said at the end of Matthew's gospel, until the end of time. Jesus is here, and we recognize, we celebrate, we memorialize his presence as we now celebrate the Holy Eucharist.